good morning, dear friends. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. I don't know if it's good morning, good afternoon, good evening for you all, but it's morning for me. So, my salutations, and I hope Sunday or Monday, if you're in Australia, finds you well. As I record this, I think it's Sunday night in Australia, so getting close. By the time it goes up, it'll probably be morning. Cheers to all of you. Cheers. Oh, if it sounds like I'm taking my time, I am. I'm a little slow today. I'm also injured. Pimple. An old teenage injury. But kinda, I'm going back that far. I am going back that far. I might even call this back in my day. I'm starting to feel like an old man when I say that. And almost 58. I guess I am an old man, but I'm not as old as I thought I'd be at this age. But I want to talk about back in my day because things were different. Things were calmer, things were cleaner, things were. You would think, if you look back, we had less rules, less constraints by society. The Me Too movement, the socialist movement, all these things are, and I'm not making, this is not a political, at all a political, right or left, bash or hug video. Let me get that straight, all of you. This is a unity video. Back in my day, people had just as opposing views as they do today. There maybe weren't as many in each pocket and were more in more pockets, but the pockets were different. A liberal was different back then than it is now. On average. Remember, I'm speaking very generally, very publicly, and I'm not putting either one down. Maybe I should start by saying back in my day, I was liberal. It wasn't until I noticed my dad working very hard for the Progressive Conservative Party, and we actually went on a few functions of theirs, that I started to see the other side. But I went to college even in my 30s, and I was still straddling that line. And I gotta tell y'all, even though some of you think that I'm right-leaning, and I even suggest sometimes in some very large things I'm a centrist. I'm on that fence. I see the value of compassion on the left side. I understand where it comes from. I feel it. I understand compassionate ways of living. I get where they all come from. And I say they, although sometimes, depending on the subject, they includes me. And yes, sometimes I'm right-leaning, but what I'm trying to say is back in the day, we had just as opposing views: freedom versus love versus war versus peace, and there were protests but one thing that really stuck out to me back then was we as a human being had the capacity and the desire for conversation. We have this beautiful thing called language, and it's very intricate. Yes, other animals, other birds, other fish, other mammals, other invertebrates have language, but it's rudimentary at best. Some of it is rather sophisticated, and we haven't learned it yet, but we have language. And I think what seems to be missing over the past decade or so is we still have it's very abruptly understandable that we have diametric positions, even though it's on the left and the right, it is the vocal minorities that seem to hold the power and decide that there needs to be an argument. In the middle is the majority. Center left, center right, center period, and not vocal, not loud, not large. And so therefore these factions have become louder and louder, and the diametric opposition has become more abrupt, and they don't converse anymore. And when you shut down conversation, you shut down reparation. I kind of like that one. Just made it up. When you stop conversing about a subject, you stop learning. When you stop listening about a subject, you stop learning. When you stop talking about a subject, you stop teaching. And isn't that our place in life, regardless of where we fit on this political spectrum, is that we need to learn and we need to teach. We need to take the lessons that we have brought upon ourselves and learned and share them humbly. And we need to listen to those around us, no matter how absurd sometimes we think it is, and listen humbly and find the common between us, because there is a lot more common than there is uncommon. We need to really look at that. Yes, there may be some things like some of the hot potato items, like climate change or universal basic income, stuff like that, that is so diametric that it pulls us apart. But let's talk about compassion, love, centrist type things that are not hot potato items. In those, we usually agree more, and we can discuss it more. You know, I like to put across that my oldest daughter is probably fairly left. I wouldn't say socialist, but close. And as I said, I'm centrist, I dip right, but I try to understand both sides, and I wish we all did. But I love her because she was brought up in an environment. Her and I can discuss the hottest topics out there, and she will very nicely listen to my side and ask me questions about my side. But don't you think this? But how do you come across that? And she tries to learn my side. And I very calmly, and yes, we can tell the conversation gets a little tight, and then we remind each other, no, we're just talking. And we calm back down, and usually I end up moving a tiny bit on my position. She moves a tiny bit on hers, and we both learn a large bit, both about each other and about ourselves. We need more conversation. We need a lot less of this giving people the opportunity to do that, when we should try to get them to say things, to talk. I do understand there are a lot of introverts out there that like it in this society, that they can go in and anonymously say what they want to say by thumbs downing or by giving an anonymous comment. But it doesn't further their knowledge, it doesn't further them at all, it doesn't further society at all. It just irks people. We need to stop and think and converse. And if we don't understand, don't accuse. Ask. Don't accuse, but ask. Say, hey, that really sounded like this to me, but I don't think you meant that. What did you mean? How did you want it to come across? And maybe the person will say, That's exactly what I meant. I wanted shock value. I used to, I used to have a blog on blogspot.com. It's still there, but and I wrote extensively about some really good stuff. I miss writing. Excuse me, but what I used to do then was I had this little thing where I wanted to have very viral, provocative language and I thought by doing so I was inciting people to conversation, but no, I was inciting people to insult by bringing things and being provocative instead of being thoughtful, careful, and slow at bringing things in and stirring up conversation. I'm not there yet. I'm learning more and more how to increase the conversation and decrease the use of the phone and the swipe left. You know, let's get over that. Let Yes, I agree. If you see something you don't like and you can't say anything nice, maybe don't say anything at all and swipe left. Move on. Block, delete. But maybe we need to invoke our own calmness and start to talk and start to learn about the other side. Learning about the other side doesn't destroy your position. It enhances it, but it may change your position a slight bit. Probably won't change it much. We are animals of position. We become who we are because of our experiences. So no wonder we are never the same as even somebody close to us, because we have separate experiences, big ones that chose the direction we're on. Trying to change yourself even slightly will only change yourself even slightly. Well, I didn't do bad for a guy who woke up with, I gotta tell you, the worst migraine I've had in a month is here, planted, and maybe it's coming out here, I don't know, but it's a bad one. But coffee without sugar is starting to taste really good. Friends, I want to thank y'all. I love y'all. And look for somebody without a smile today. They need yours. You need yours. Put it on. Wipe it off. Throw it over them and put a new one on. Remember, subscribe. Watch another video. Thumbs up if you got them. Peace.